Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Invest Power series today. Slightly different thing today again, which I thought, we'll try something different again. What I like to do is I like to demonstrate the importance of having a clear goal and how important it is to have a finance strategy around it. So that allows you to be able to lay the path and show you how to get to the goal that you want. And I thought the easiest way to do that is to actually run through a couple of examples. And today I've picked out two examples, which I thought I'll share with everyone to give you a bit of perspective on, how the finance strategy differs from just looking at each of the mortgage/property transaction. So let's dig into these two examples today. So part of the fun of being a mortgage broker is to be able to talk to people about what their goals are and what they want to realize in about 5 to 10 years time. And in this industry, you'll meet various of different types of people. You'll have people that just want to be able to casually accumulate, or maybe just to be able to, buy one or two properties and be able to retire off on that. Those are the easy ones. And usually I would say, they're the more risk averse type of personality. And there's nothing wrong with that, because ultimately, if you just want to be able to achieve, let's say for example, $40,000 before tax passive income, one or two properties can actually help you do that. And the simplest way that you can do that is just by, let's say for example, you buy two $400,000 properties, rent at $400 a week. If you do pay them off, each one's going to give you 400 times 52. So that's roughly about $20,000 a year, right? And if you times that by 2, that's going to give you roughly about $40,000 passive income before tax. So the question then comes down to, how do you buy two $400,000 properties and pay them off over the period of time as quick as you can? So in this case, a P&I repayment example will be a good financial strategy to come in here, because what you want to do is to be able to buy the $400,000 property, get maybe like a 25 years loan term if you can service for it, because that means your monthly repayment is going to be higher in the 25 years loan term versus usually a 30-year loan term. If you get a 25 years loan term along with an offset account, park the extra money in the first investment property, that means every month you're actually going to pay down the principal a lot quicker. And over the period of time, the property will then essentially, at some point in time, it will start paying itself off, right? Because every month the debt keeps on reducing, and at one point in time, the rental income is going to be able to offset everything that goes out. In other words, you're going to have a break-even property, and that's the most exciting part, because when you do have a break-even property, from that point onwards, it's very powerful. You can just leave the property running by itself without having to pay more or to be able to support the property each month in their repayments to be able to afford holding it. And that's the beauty of it. To be able to use that type of strategy is when you pay it to the point when the loan amount, usually maybe around 70% or even below, when the loan amount is low enough and the rental income is adequate enough to be able to support all the outgoing, including the console rate, the water rate, management fees and all that stuff, and it breaks even on that, then that property allows itself to be paid off from that point, and you can just simply let it run for the next 5-10 years, and before you realize, you'll have a property that has got very little debt, and the rental income is going to start accumulate and snowball. So by the time you retire, you have two of these type of properties. You'll get $40,000 passive income. Not a lot of money, of course, but some people are happy with that. So, each to their own. And that's a good example of, if you have a goal like that, and then you work with a mortgage broker or a finance strategist or a buyer's agent that allows you to work out how you're going to get there, that's actually the easiest way to achieve your goal. Now, let's look at another example. Let's say, for example, Joe Blob's come and see me, and he has a goal of $100,000 passive income. So not $40,000, $100,000 passive income by the time he retires. So If you've talked to one of the property strategists before, you'll know that roughly at 5% gross rental return, you need about $2.6 million unencumbered portfolio to be able to provide you $100,000 passive income before tax. So, that works out to be about 2.6 mil times by roughly 5%, and that's going to give you that magical figure. So the question comes down to what sort of finance strategy that allows you to be able to get to that 2.6 mil unencumbered. And usually there's a couple ways. You can do it by accumulating up to about 5 mil of properties. And over the time, keep holding them. And at time of retirement, sell down half the portfolio and pay off the other half with the profit. And there you go. Balda. There's your 2.6 mil unencumbered property with the rental income that's going to get you $100,000 passive income every year. But in the current environment, is it that simple to be able to accumulate 5 mil of property portfolio? So in the current environment, it can be very, very challenging in 2019 to be able to accumulate $5 million of property portfolio from day one. You have to be on the really, really good income. So what can you do? Well, basically what you can do at this point is, depending on your age, depending on the life, where you are in your current life, and your family composition, you can accumulate to the point where you're stretching yourself but not too far to the point, and then you stop there. You start actually improving on some of these values or the properties that you have found. So that's where a value add strategy is very, very important. Let's say, for example, you have purchased a property that gives you that subdivision potential. So initially, during the acquisition, you may not be able to do that subdivision straight away. What you might want to do, however, is keep that property for a couple of years, and then later down the track, you can actually execute that subdivision. And that subdivision deal may be able to give you some extra money in the pocket. And if you subdivide and sell off the block, be able to get a bit of profit, pay down the loan. That means your debt's reduced, or your debt level has reduced. And that means potentially you can use that to be able to purchase another property because your borrowing power or borrowing capacity would have improved at that time. So that's why towards the end of the property journey, usually investors will be looking at properties that's got more value add potential than just simple buy and hold strategies, because they know later down the track, buy and hold properties is not going to get them very, very far. They need something to be a bit more creative to be able to fast track them towards that final figure. And I'm using 5 mil property portfolio as just an example. At the end of the day, you accumulate. What you find is there's some stages where you accumulate, and then you stop, you do some reconciliation, you'll improve and you'll execute some of the strategies that you wanted to execute from day one when you purchase the properties. And then, so you'll stop temporarily, do that, and then you'll be ready again because your income would have improved, or rental income's improved, or you've got to save up at the same time as well. So there's all going to be start, stop, start, stop. But if you keep doing that over a period of time, so in other words, consistency, then the result will still come. So most people says, I want to be able to accumulate straight away, 5 mil. How can I do that? In the current environment, it's very, very difficult, but it's not impossible across multiple number of years and through consistency of work. So I hope that gives you guys a bit of idea. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up or subscribe to our channel. Leave us a comment if you do really like it, or give me some feedback. What do you like to see more? What do you like me to talk about more? I'm always on the lookout for anything, any problems that I can solve. So if you have something, don't be afraid to reach out. Comment below, send me an email at david@lenpower.com.au. I'll be more than happy to help. And again, I'll see you guys next time in another Invest Power series episode.